bring?
All right. This is an easy one. I mean,
Okay.
it's interesting though. It's something to think about. Okay, you got a list of people that you loved and cared about. You could bring back. Who would you bring back, and what would you say to them? Just for if you only had like 5-10 minutes to talk to them.
How many people do I have?
You got like a list of 5 people, right? That are very close to you, important to you, and in your lifetime you lost. You can only bring one of them back for 5 minutes, and I say 10 minutes. Who would it be, and what would you say to him? And there's no diss to anybody else that you've lost.
Right,
It's
right,
just who like, because I've thought about this. Like, what would I say to my grandma Vaught? Like, what would I say to my grandpa Vaught? You know what I'm saying? Like at the age I'm at now, if I could just say something to him real quick.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I've thought about that.
What was your question? What would it be?
Who would it be?
No, what would be your questions or your?
Oh no, I was saying like
Oh,
my
okay.
grandpa Vaught. You know what I'm saying? I would just say, hey man, I don't know if you've been able to see me,
Mm-hmm.
but I hope you're like proud of me,
Mhm.
something like that. You know what I'm saying? So I would say he's the guy that I probably would want to talk to, my grandpa Alexander Vaught Sr. You know what I'm saying? So because I've thought about that. I'm like, because some were sudden, some were gradual, but the ones that were sudden, you're like, man, I wanted to like say that last thing. You know what I'm saying? And in some ways, you probably can't. I don't know, but
And would it be? Okay, you said you only have 5 minutes to talk to them.
yeah, or more like 10 minutes. 5 minutes is nothing. But if you just wanted to just like give him a hug or anything, my thing more so is like who would it be? Because you think back in time and it's like, did you have an opportunity that you missed? That's, I think, is more so the question.
So if I can twist on that a little bit, so
Mhm.
then you said it has to be somebody that you know, not just anybody
That's what I was
that's
thinking.
dead.
I was getting ready to ask.
Yeah.
that same
You know
question.
what? We don't have to limit it to somebody that you know or love. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
then that-
It could literally be just somebody that you might have wanted to say something to that is gone now. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, it could be that, bro.
It could be anybody from history.
Yeah, that's fine. I
Okay.
think that's fine.
Yeah, because I think that's because anybody that I know, I don't want to go yet. Let me
Yeah.
think about it some more.
Yeah, I like that thought better though.
Somebody that you know.
No, just a broader scale.
Okay.
Because that kind of can awaken like, okay, some other thoughts about some conversation that you might want to have.
Mhm.
See, for me, I limited it to just people that are of significance
That makes
to me
sense.
personally.
That makes sense.
That's the thought with that. But
I think that's a much more heartfelt one. I think we can even kind of make those two different questions. 'Cause I
Yeah,
think
we can do it twice.
yeah.
Yeah.
that's kind of a different scope. I think of this somebody that's close to you.
yeah. I mean, and the thing is, you don't have an answer for it. It's fine when it comes to a loved one because you may have got everything out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I
That's
think
true.
The loved ones that I've lost that were closest to me, I was able to.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, I was able to. I mean, I thankfully, thank God, I'm very grateful that I haven't lost anybody due to tragedy.
Yeah,
It was
right.
always,
Something natural.
the drawn out sickness where we had time to sit and enjoy the last moments and the last years or whatever. Nobody left really suddenly.
Yeah,
really that I can think of.
yeah. That's good, man.
And I'm extremely grateful for that.
Yeah. What makes me think about it is because we're in a time, man, where things are just happening so fast. Life is happening fast. We're all busy. We're all doing something. We're all distracted. And the thing is, things happen so suddenly. And then we move past it so fast. It's been like 7 years since my grandma passed. It seems like it happened yesterday.
Yeah.
It's been 7 years, and I'm thinking like, man, because there's been times where I wanted to go like kick it with her, and I'm like, but she's been gone like so long.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, what makes me think about it now is, like, say for example, we have the luxury of this. We do this pretty much every Monday, Tuesday, or whatever. But the thing is, we kind of have an opportunity to say to one another something we wanted to say.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you get to your point in your life where you're like, was it somebody that maybe I could have said something to differently? Because I don't really have that, but it's just a fun thought process. Like my grandpa Vaught, I enjoyed him. I liked him a lot. You know what I'm saying? But he was just gone. You know what I'm saying? Like suddenly. And I'm like, man, want to have a few more laughs with him or something. I mean, it's selfish, but you think about it. But the heart of the question is like, how do we exercise our time and communication between one another? You know what I'm saying? So that's, I think, more so the heart of that question and why I focus more on those of significance to you.
So I don't really want to go first. Anybody else?
Yeah. I think.
And I know it's a tough broad.
I think for me, it'd be my mother.
Yeah.
I think that my mom, she held her peace on a lot of things.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
And if I had 10 minutes with her, I would ask her to just open up.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
Open up. I'm here.
Yeah.
You know, I'm willing to listen to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I never had that. And if your brothers, when your parents still alive, man, brother, I'm telling you, when they go, you're gonna miss an intricate part of your life.
Yeah.
So spend the time that you possibly can with them. Ask them questions, talk to them. I know you do for sure with your dad. And
I
your
could
mom.
stand to do it more though. You
Yeah.
know, life happens. You just kind of let time go by.
Right.
Yeah.
But when I think about my parents, I always call them.
Man,
You know what I'm
please
saying?
do, man.
So as I think about them, I've always made a habit of that.
Yeah,
Anybody that I
yeah.
think about, I'll text them. You know, because I do that more often now. Because
Yeah.
I could text you in the middle of the night.
Right.
But if I think about somebody, it's always been a habit that I communicated because you just never know. You never know
Yeah,
if
you
it's
never
going to be
know.
your time.
You never know.
You know what I'm saying? But then more so, you don't know if that person that you wanted to be like, hey man, I was just thinking about you. Because I will literally do that. Just thinking about you, hope all is well.
Yeah.
And it could be a friend, man. We only talk like once a year.
Yeah.
I'm
I
getting to
re-
the point where I'm doing that too.
Yeah, because I do that like with, say, for example, Jacques, man.
Mm-hmm.
Jacques, man, we stay in touch, man. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
he just, because, I mean, the whole thing, like, with his wife, like, we literally, my wife and I, in 2012, we went with them to go see some Kevin Hart film. We went to the movies with them. And then shortly after that happened. And we were just like, man, it's like, that's a couple you think you would grow old with. And then you think back on it like, man, she was young and all these different things. But I always made a point to, like, keep in touch with them because you just want people to know, like, when you're dealing with things or when you have dealt with traumatic things, you're not alone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
And
true, man.
you think about it like all of our life is really but a vapor. So anytime you think of somebody or you have that opportunity, you wanted to seize the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no matter what you're doing. Like, you could be working and then you're just like, let me just shoot him a text. You got time to talk. I mean, but you just shoot him a text.
I got a question for you. Like this kind of branches off. It's not the same
That's
question,
fine,
right?
that's fine.
I saw a brother on Facebook I went to school with, and for a whole year he talks about his son dying,
Yeah.
and it's just like he's hurt, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's talking about it, just bam, 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 bam,
Yeah.
and everybody putting up hands, and saying they're praying for you and different things like that. So I kind of IM'd them on the side, I didn't want everyone else to see, and I asked them, have you number one, I've read most of your posts. My heart goes out to you. If that was my son, I'd be heartbroken too.
Right.
And his son was 22 years old when he died. Right.
Got it.
And the thing is, he was taken away tragically.
Okay.
I got you.
In violence, right?
Yeah.
And so he's upset. He says he cries
Sure.
out to God.
Yeah.
He say he's just this is messed up. You know what I'm saying? He's like, basically, I should have been the one. I'm the one that's there's a certain way.
Yeah.
And I've known him forever, so I know his background, right?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But when I contacted him, I think now with death, I think what our approach is, people need an escape when you deal with something tragic.
Yeah.
And the thing is when you see people's response, I'm sure people don't know what to say when it comes to death, right? But they feel them, they hurt, they're hurting with them. But are we doing a service to them by allowing them to continue down this path, or should we give them a route to escape from that so they can move on? So I'm not trying to tell him to move on, but one thing that I tried to say, have you thought about counseling? Have you thought about reaching out to people that has gone through your same situation, that you can help them be a service to someone else? You see what I'm saying? And I told him, I said, a lot of times when you end up becoming a service to someone else, it actually gives you closure within yourself. And so when we see about death and when our loved ones die or whatnot, are we properly approaching situations where we can alleviate the stresses and the traumas so we can move on with our lives? Are we doing that properly? You know what I'm saying? Are we actually taught the resolve of moving on? Because I remember some people in our family, when a loved one died, they were holding on to that thing forever, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that was their baby. You know what I'm saying? The death was their baby of that loved one.
Right.
And it's like, do you give them time or do you give them a response? You know what I'm saying? How do you is everyone different? You know what I'm saying? Death doesn't change, right?
Right.
I mean, it's tragic.
It's inevitable, yeah.
It's inevitable, right?
For us all.
So,
But
what do you think the process is? Do you think should you allow people to stay there, or should you say, okay, it's time to move on from this, right? How do you?
I would say, man,
That's
honestly,
hard, ain't it?
there's no template, and then
Yeah.
everybody's different, and then the relationship, the significance, the impact, is all per person.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
really no
yeah.
template to and everybody's different with it. And how I make sense of it, you may not make sense of it.
Yeah.
And we always have to be careful, because if you trying to tell somebody to move on, I mean, especially when somebody
Absolutely.
especially if somebody loses a kid, man. You know what I'm saying? They may never really get over it, but there are ways that you can probably suggest, coping. You know what I'm saying? But to try and have someone move forward or move on from it, that probably wouldn't be the right words for it, because everybody's different with that.
Yeah.
That's just my thought.
I think it's like you said, you have to kind of look at what's the situation, what's the person. I think that your response is going to be different. Maybe should be different based on, like you said, what's the situation? Was it tragic? Was it something that was a sickness prolonged? Was it sudden? And who was it to that person? But then I think a lot of it is going to be based on how do you see that person dealing with it? Because like you said, everybody's going to have their own different time to grieve, and everybody's going to have their different way to grieve, right? So if I see somebody that's just going on about their business, still going through their daily life and their routine, but are still touched or saddened by it, but they seem okay, I'm not going to push that person too much to process it better or to move on. You see somebody kind of getting stuck or in a depression or feeling like I can't go on without this person, that's when I think I'd probably be more pushing, like you have to look at these other things and kind of direct their focus away. Not telling them I want you to move on from it, but kind of direct their focus into something else to try to help them heal. Because ultimately, we want everybody to be in a good mental state. Death is not going to produce that easily, right? So you have to let that person have time to grieve and deal with it how they're going to deal with it. But then you got to look at, so you said it's coming to everybody, and you're not going to be on this earth and have any close people to you without having to experience it and having to process it and have to know how to deal with it, right? So everybody's going to have to go through that. And it's just a matter of you want people around you to be well. So, if I see that person is not dealing with it well and is kind of spiraling them, you got to maybe take a more proactive approach in how you deal with it. Right.
Yeah, my thought has always been, in all care with words, the only thing you really can say is I can never know your pain and keep living.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because I've actually had to tell people, like, you have to keep living. You know what I'm saying? And in that, because you have to really keep words at a minimum. Especially when somebody's dealing with it really hard. And then you can also let them know that they are loved. I've used those words too, like, I can't know your pain, keep living, you are loved. And because I don't get into all this, if you ever need anybody, I don't do all that, because I may not be that person. But you can definitely let that person know that they are not alone in that walk. They are loved. You have to keep living, and I can't know your pain. You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of times, we want to help people fix. Like, let's fix this, especially as men. We got to fix this. And my thing is, that's something that, depending on the severity of it, you can't necessarily fix it.
Time is the only thing that's going to fix it.
Time, and then maybe not even time.
It's true.
You know what I'm saying? I think your sister Amy told me one time, she was like, so whoever said time heals all wounds, they lie, because, I know your mom hit all y'all, and so, and with that, a lot of times I just won't say anything. A lot of times the silence is what can kind of help. You just kind of be in there.
I look at it as a wound. So like the adage that says time heals all wounds, I look at it literally as a wound. If I get stabbed, if I somehow cut along my arm really, really deep, I can go to the hospital, I can get pain medicine, I can get stitches and have it sutured back together and have the muscles reconnected. And I'll be able to use my arm again. And, in the best case scenario, I'll be able to use my arm again. Time will have healed that wound, but I'll never not have a scar.
Right.
So I look at it in that sense.
Right.
The openness, the rawness, the pain, the feeling that it's never going to go away or that it's unbearable,
Right.
that part gets healed.
Right.
The sadness when you think about it, the nostalgia, the heartbreak when you hear that person's favorite song, those type of things.
Yeah.
To me, those are the scar. That's noticing the scar, and then you get sad again. I had a friend when I think I was 17. One of my good friends lost his father to a heart attack. It was sudden. There was no warning, and I remember talking to him. We went to Cedar Point about 2 years after that, and I remember sitting in the parking lot after Cedar Point closed. This was back before they had it lined up where everybody can get out and it's streamlined. It used to be you sit there for like 2 hours waiting on all the cars and you move up 1 inch. Anyway, so we were sitting in this parking lot after Cedar Point closed. And we were talking because at this point my grandmother was sick, and she wasn't doing well, and so we were expecting that she may not be around much longer. So I was telling him, I was anticipating that, and so I was telling him how much I was already hurting, and she was still here. And he told me at that point, no, I take that back. That part of the conversation came later. Earlier on in the conversation, he was telling me how much he missed his father and how he thinks about it every single day, even when he's at Cedar Point, laughing and having fun. He's still thinking about it, and the wound is still raw. It had been a couple years, but this is his father, and it was sudden and tragic.
I can understand.
So I remember saying to him that I said that to him. I said that time heals all wounds. And he says, similar to what you said, Ethan's sister said, like, nah, it doesn't. Right. It's been time. I've spent time. Right. And no, it doesn't. Yeah. I talked to the same friend. Now, that was well over 10 years ago. I talked to the same friend recently, and I talked to some of their siblings. And although when that comes up, that you can notice that scar, and it brings about some sadness. Right. But the intense pain, the openness, the rawness, and all of that has subsided, at least in some form. Yeah. So I think that time does heal all wounds. As long as we are alive long enough for the time to make, that time can make it, I think time does heal the wound, but the scar will be there potentially forever.
That's really good.
Yeah, that's good. Again, but also I agree with you saying that words pretty much have to be kept to a minimum. Yeah. And if a wound is raw, that me saying to somebody time heals all wounds, it feels like an insult. Yeah. So I can understand why somebody that is experiencing the pain that you and your siblings felt when you lost your mom. Yeah. I can understand how somebody saying that to you would be like, nah, you lying. It's been some time. You know what I mean? I felt that loss. Yeah. And but time really does do it. Yeah. Who knows what is the right thing to say? Partially because we don't understand death on this side of death. Yeah, right. And so it's hard to give any real meaningful words. You know what I mean? Yeah. The most I can say is, I love you, I care about you, I'm praying for you, I understand to a certain degree, and these type of things. But most of that is just, it's just fluff, just to let somebody know that we care about them. Yeah. Because what can I say when you've lost a son? Yeah, what words are there? There are none. You know what I mean? So
literally for that, there are no words.
There are no words because we don't even understand. I can't say to you for certainty that he's resting in the bosom of God, or that he's, you know what I'm saying, or that he's in purgatory or wherever, floating around in the cosmos.
And I wouldn't say keep living.
Right.
I know.
It's that sounds terrible.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's very little that you can say. So my approach has been over the last several years is to let people know, and this is true, I'm not just saying it, to let people know that I'm praying for strength and peace for them. Yeah. Because those are the two things that I think are the most critical things in that moment. Bro, yes. I know that you need strength because you feel like you're helpless, and I know that you need peace because you're in turmoil. Yes. So my thing is, I'm not saying I don't do the thing like you said, call me anytime.
No, I never do.
There are certain people who know they can reach out to me and I'll drop whatever, but mostly I'm looking for strength and peace for people who have experienced that type of loss.
I love that. But see, and here's my thing, and it's not even intentional. It's just, I think this is really in my personality. I never say, if you need anybody, I'm there. I never do that. I just continue to be the person I've always been, and that's just my journey with it. So, like, if we cool, like right now, and you suffer a meteoric event, I'm gonna just be the same person. Like I'm not gonna treat you different because me treating you different reminds you of what's going on. So my thing is, we still gonna trip out if you feel like it. If you don't, we ain't got. I'm not gonna push it. But you will know, like you said, whoever you rock with, they'll know that they have access to you the way that nobody else. But I'm never going to become like, oh, do you need anything? You know, when people do that, it's like, are you crazy?
Yeah, it's
like you're reminding me of the terror that I'm dealing with 24/7 by that tone. Or, you know, and I don't even go with, you know, we you know, the whole like, you know, I gotta word this very carefully. I think I'm gonna leave that for off camera. but
I had one that I was getting ready to throw in. I reeled it in real quick.
But again, it goes along the lines of words have to be at a minimum. But I'm always mindful that I don't like to make people feel different or special, to remind them of the tragedy that they're trying to endure. So I try and just really, you know, you give that hug and you just say, you know what, I'm gonna just let you, you know.
So for me, and I'll share a personal experience, that's been my approach throughout most of my conscious, you know, life, where I've been aware that, you know, people need me, you know what I mean? It's been, my approach has been, I'm here for you, I'm praying for you, I love you, and I'll reach out to you, you know, every now and then just to, you know, check up, say, hey, how you feeling, whatever. But I had one friend in particular, and this is the point that I'm making is on the other side of the story. I had one friend in particular that lost someone very close to them, and I'm trying to be careful how I word this. That lost someone very close to them, and I did my thing. I, you know, reached out. I went over for a visit. You know, gave some hugs. You know, hung out for a minute, shared some stories, some laughs, whatever. Went on home, and then, you know, maybe reach out a week or so after, or 2 weeks, whatever, just to, you know, say, hey, how you feeling?
Right.
I was informed a year, maybe a little over a year after that person didn't feel like I was there for them.
Oh, wow.
And so that made me understand that even though I grieve in one way, and I know that I'm okay with somebody offering what I offer, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I understand now, I have a better understanding, rather, that and this goes back to your original question, that everybody grieves differently.
Right.
Yeah.
Some people grieve quietly and alone. Some people grieve out loud. Some people grieve in a group. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it's up to us as those who are the quote unquote caretakers of that person in the moment to try our best to be aware of what they need in that moment. Some people, because if I experience a tragic loss, I'm probably going to be a recluse for a minute. You know what I mean? I don't need you in my face. Matter of fact, I don't want you in my face. Exactly. I need to process, and I process my best in here with me. You know what I mean? I don't trust nobody more than you know what I'm saying? And so I can say and express and think all of the things out within my own mind and with a few select individuals. Let me not act like I'm an island, because I'm not.
Right.
There are a few select individuals that I can share with, that I fully trust, and I know I can talk to them as if I'm talking to my own self.
Exactly.
But the majority of people, and I know that I have a wealth of people that love me and care about me and want to see me do well, even in the presence of tragedy. But there's a lot of them that I'm going to keep at arm's length in that moment. I'll accept, you know, a few text messages here and a call and, you know, a hug or whatever. But for the most part, I'm probably going to need is silence.
Yeah.
And on the flip side of that coin, there are those who are going to need everybody to come and hug and bring food and play Uno at the house, and they don't want to be don't want to be alone, and that's fair, and that's perfectly fine. And I'm understanding that more and more, that I have to be sensitive to those type of people. Yeah. I don't understand it. I'll be honest. I don't understand it, but I have to be sensitive to it, because that's we have to care about each other's emotions, or else we're not loving each other. But anyway, the point that I'm making is, you know, just being aware and trying to adapt. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that being able to discern who it is you're caring for, like their mentality, because some need, like you said, more attention than, because I definitely wouldn't want to talk, or, you know, have to be around anybody.
Yeah. I just want to sit by myself and cry.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all I need.
You don't even necessarily need people to see you cry.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't need anybody to bring you no food or nothing.
Oh, you can bring me food.
Right.
Just drop it on the doorstep. I can DoorDash.
Right. But your perception.
I ain't gonna never turn down.
Right. Your appetite will always be intact.
Exactly. Right. I don't care how sad I am. Give me the pizza.
Yeah. But your perception of how you handle grief, it's definitely not everybody else.
Sure.
And that's how we all. So we have to understand. I think the human condition is vast. Like and it's
varied.
And varied in how people deal with things. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, like for me, I know I wouldn't want a lot of attention, but I do know that I would want it to be known, by that person that, hey, I'm definitely here. And I mean, I'm not, that's not changing.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Right.
I'm not going to, because you always have to be careful because we all have this tick where you don't want to make it about you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'll be here for you. Anything you need. I'm the one.
Yeah.
Give me a call. It's like none of that means anything.
Right.
Nobody cares about how you feel, how it makes you feel that person's grieving.
Right.
So you always have to be careful about that one little aspect.
Our ego can get involved.
Yeah, because everybody's pretty much going to say the same thing. You're always going to get the prayer in hands, which my understanding, that emoji is high five.
Yeah. It was originally high five. I think
they changed it. Yeah. And the other thing's ice cream, but
right.
It doesn't look like it. But anyway,
right. Yeah. It was originally ice cream.
Yeah, but everybody does the prayer hands. Everybody says, I'm gonna leave that for off camera. But everybody says the same thing. And so, because I've offered condolences on Facebook. People, I think, first of all, overly transparent on social media. It's to a fault. It's annoying.
Please don't
but
start on that.
Yeah. But
we can talk for another 2-3 hours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But because I see stuff all the time, and I'm like, but everybody ends up saying the same things over and over and over.
Yeah.
And I tend to just, I might do something. If I know the person, I'll just text them. I'm not doing anything on social media.
If I can have your number, I'm not going to happy birthday or condolences.
Right.
It's going to be personal.
Right. Personal, yeah. Like I'll text my brothers personally with things. I'm not going to see them online and be like, yeah, man, that's what you should do. It's like, that's stupid, but.
Unless I'm doing like some sort of specific shout out or something.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to be private for the most part.
Right. But our social makeup, I think, we're always going to operate in our own perspective on it, and so I can see how a person will be like, yeah, Mike, man, he ain't call me or nothing. I mean, he just, I really needed him.
And my heart was there the whole time.
Exactly.
But I'm doing, and it was just
you were being careful though.
Yeah, and it was doing what I would want somebody to do for me, which is what that's what we're taught to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is exactly what I want. Come by, give me a little hug or whatever if you're really close to me.
Yeah.
Bring me a pizza and go on about your business. I'll be okay. Let me sit here and cry and watch Netflix until I get over it.
Right.
Or until I feel better. You know what I mean?
Do you watch romances at all or no?
Right.
I'm sorry.
I forgot.
Can we go back to the original question with the bringing back somebody?
One more thing. Bring it back. Keep that. All right. Yep. One thing that I wanted to add to the thought is the expectation. When a person says, well, he didn't even call me or whatnot, I always think about what is that person's expectation to, right? Of others outside too. So when you come to them with your heart or whatnot, and how would you ever read their heart if that's what they wanted to begin with? Like what is when it's something so tragic that happens in someone's life, you can't read their mind, right? And I like the whole idea about you taking a seat back, you know what I'm saying, taking a step back, and you allow them to grieve. Because a lot of times people grieve. That's kind of me consistently. I do say if you need anything, if that's only for people that's close. If you don't, if I'm not close to you, I'm not going to do it. Like for instance, we had our friend that we all know that passed away, man. We went over there and whatnot, and it hit me. I cried right there, man. And I was just like, because I was thinking to myself, like, the last time I talked to the brother or whatnot, I understood how he was thinking at that time, and I was thinking to myself, like, this was unnecessary death. You know what I'm saying? It's like certain things are just so unnecessary. Yeah. But most of those things are out of your control. It's nothing you can do about that. Like from me on the outside, there's nothing I can do about it.
Right.
And those types of things is like, okay, is there something that I could have said or whatnot? And then you have to, when you're saying it's not about you. Yeah. That's very important to consider. It's like, it's not about the individual. People made the choices themselves or whatever the case may be whatever the case may be that caused that situation for that death, right? And this actually is a bigger conversation than than what we're making it, because it's pretty deep when you talk about death, right, and how to handle death, and because I'll just leave that there. What are you about to say, man?
No, I was gonna say I think it comes down to as simple as just asking a person what is it that you need.
Yeah.
I don't want to offer myself. I don't want to overextend myself by saying anything. I'll bring down the sun if you. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
But if you're somebody that I
overboard,
number one, that I can't read very well, you know, or number two, somebody that I may not know that well, or some, you know, whatever it might be, or I can't tell what's really happening. I'm just gonna ask. At this point, I'm at the point where I'm asking. Listen, I want to give you a space, but if that's not what you need, let me know that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's perfect.
That's excellent, man.
And so that's kind of, I mean, what other way can we really do it?
That's proper communication, actually. Because we always want to be extremely careful.
Yes.
But that right there is perfect. Because it's a very soft way to just have two-way conversation. You're not making an assumption or on your end, like, you know, I just don't stand by, you know, if they need me, they'll call me. Because they're probably not going to do that.
Right. I'm not offering every bit of my time. I'm not offering, you know, all of my finances or anything, but I just want, you know, I want people to feel like I'm there for them. You know, it hurt my feelings when my friend told me that they didn't feel like I was there for them. I was like, what? I was, and my whole heart was, you know what I mean?
And plus, they didn't tell you, though.
But at the same time, I understand in the throes of tragedy and heartbreak and all of that, I don't know if I necessarily want to put the onus on them at that moment if I don't ask. You know what I'm saying?
I understand that.
Because I didn't ask. I did what instinctually I always have done, which is, like I said, what I would want somebody to do for me. So I'm getting, and this is new, I'm getting in the habit of asking those types of questions and making sure that I can be as present as possible without overstepping or overextending. You know what I mean?
So you said you want to circle back?
Yeah. So I was thinking, I kept saying I don't want to go first. Guess I'm going first. I was thinking that in terms of personal acquaintances or loved ones, I would bring back my all four of my grandparents. If I got a list of 5, I'd bring back all 4 of my grandparents. But the thing is that I think that the only one that didn't see me through to adulthood was my maternal grandfather, and I think that would be a really interesting and impactful conversation with him. All of the rest of my grandparents died when I was over 21, if I'm not mistaken. I know my grandmother died next, and I think I was 21 or so. Anyway, I would really want to speak with my maternal grandfather, and then the rest of them, I just want to, you know, get a hug and cry on their shoulder a little bit, and you know, tell them to go back to paradise where they are. Yeah. But in terms of just general, I would want to have a conversation face to face, person to person with Jesus Christ. And I don't know if there's anybody else. Maybe Plato. I'm very interested in Plato and the way that he thought.
I'm gonna put this thing on the list because I know you're gonna say it anyway. Tesla.
Oh, heck yeah, Nikola Tesla. Yes, absolutely.
You weren't gonna say it. I know. Once I mentioned it.
Yes, 100%. I'm obsessed with Tesla. Yeah. Those 3 individuals from history, I would want to be able to. And I said Jesus very specifically the way that I said it, because it's not a, you know, we're not looking at a bring it back from the dead type of thing, especially according to, you know, faith or whatever. But if I could have a conversation with any 3 people from history, it would be Jesus, Tesla, and probably Plato. Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. That's pretty good, man. I didn't think about people from history.
Oh.
Yeah. But honestly, sitting here though, listening to you, this is gonna be probably sound very weird and crazy. But the person that popped in my head is Sandra Bland.
Huh.
Isn't that crazy? And the only reason is I would want to ask her what happened and what she would suggest for us to get justice. That's just me, because what happened to her always is stuck with me. Out of all the things that have happened to our people, that one really, the circumstances surrounding it, everything that led up to it, her life, who she was, all of it, it just always stuck with me. Because to me, I feel like it was a turning point that a lot of people sleep on in the history and plight of not only Black people, but particularly Black women. And I would want her, because she was very smart and she was very in tune with what was going on with our people. She documented it very well on social media. But I just simply would want to ask her, what exactly happened, and what would you suggest would be justice? And I would use that as a template to kind of maybe sort through some other things with that subject matter. So
Okay,
that
so I gotta jump on one. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say that. Now that I think about it, just somebody generally interested. That's the person that literally popped in my head just now.
Okay, so just a little tease. One person that if we doing it like that, I'm ready. I gotta have a conversation with Osama bin Laden. I gotta know. I got to know.
That would be interesting.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because
it's a lot there, bro.
It's a lot, and
It's a lot there.
maybe we'll save it for off camera. But that's a heavy one.
lot,
I would want to talk to him and be like,
Yeah.
I know you ain't do that, John. What happened?
Yeah. That would be heavy, man. That would expose a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. That's my meme one.
Yeah,
but the rest
yeah.
of them are sincere to my heart. But
Yeah.
What
about you, G?
It's hard, man. I don't know.
That's tough.
It is. It's tough, man. It's just for the sake of discussion. I mean, what are we at? Hour and something. I mean, we can
17,
Yeah.
R17.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm not the only person that's gonna answer this. Y'all better get on it.
I said my grandpa.
Oh yeah.
Because here's what's sudden. My other grandparents pretty much had time to say something to me. Because for me, those have been the most significant in my recent lifetime. My grandpa Smith was first at 19, so that's been a while. But his was gradual. My grandma Vaught was kind of gradual, but I got to talk to her quite a bit, and I had her a long time. You know, and my grandma Smith, I was around her for quite a bit. So, but yeah.
Historical, it would be Jesus. Probably Constantine.
Oh, that's a good
That'd be
one.
interesting. Yeah.
I would want to understand how all this
Bro, that's a
mess
really
started,
good one.
right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if he's honest enough, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like,
yeah.
I mean, he's already dead, so why not?
Yeah,
Why not be
yeah,
honest?
right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like, it will be Constantine. It will be,
Yeah.
Of course, it will be the Lord Jesus. Like you said, and I agree with what you said earlier about, you know, according to Scripture, he's already alive. But it was somebody else, man. Tesla would probably be a good one as well.
Yeah.
But it will probably be those two main ones. And of course, like from parenting, my mom and whatnot.
Yeah,
But
right.
the other two, I'll save it for later because I'm sure it's somebody that I would want to
think
ask.
of,
Yeah, I can think of later.
Right.
So I'll just save it for later, man. But those are the ones, like for Constantine, I would want to understand his mindset. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's a good one.
I will really want to understand how he operated. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, when you look at people that in the history and you start to see the truth about certain things, and I'm not saying I have all the truth about Constantine, right? But there's so much documentation surrounding this man. I would just have to understand for myself what went in his mind. You know what I'm saying? I would really want to know. And I'm not even gonna lie to you, even Hitler. I would really understand
That's not a
like
bad one.
what would be the drivers behind an individual like that.
He wouldn't talk to you.
He
He'd come back like,
Right.
No, he spoke to a couple of was it a black Olympian or was a black guy he spent some time with. I forgot.
Was it Jesse
Yeah,
Owens?
I was about to say, you're not talking about Jesse Owens.
No, there was somebody he
walked out
spent
with it.
time.
Yeah.
He spent time talking with somebody. I'm gonna have to look it up.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to look it
That'd
up.
be
He
interesting, man.
spent some time talking to a black man, and the guy was like, he came back surprised at that he had a conversation with them. But it's like that, you know, people co-opting the swastika and everything. That wasn't his focus.
Oh, okay.
That wasn't his focus. He was very much like on his, you know, Aryan race kind of thing, but not so much to where he had disdain for everybody. He had his, and even his feelings about the Jews, I think were more about things he experienced personally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the black guy he talked to was surprised that he spoke to him, but it wasn't the kind of hateful conversation he thought it was going to be.
Yeah, that's why I really want to, because this is the thing. Our history books are so flawed. You know what I'm saying? And even when and once again, like I said, I just said Hitler, but there's so many other people. You talking about Egyptians that I would want to talk to. You know what I'm saying? It's so many of them, man. African kings and so many of them that I would want to talk to, man, and just really understand where their mind at, because our history is just so flawed, man, in so many ways, man.
especially in our country.
Yeah,
In our
yeah.
country,
Yeah, a lot of lies, man.
Yeah, it's quite a
All right,
bit.
G, we need your answers, bro. You the only one. We can't rap without you.
Historically, Jesus, Enoch, and Tesla.
That's a good one.
Enoch
Yeah,
is a
Enoch
really
is
good
really
one.
good.
And his family, I don't know, man.
Mm.
I don't know, because I've always, and just the way our family is, we try not to really let disagreements or things like that last. So I don't feel like I have anything I would want to go back and say or get off my chest or kind of let somebody know, like, we didn't have a chance to talk about this. I feel like I feel resolved with a lot of that.
That's good.
I
just
feel
want
the same.
hugs from my
That's all I care
That'd be the
about.
thing.
I feel the same
Going back
way.
to get hugs from them, I don't know. I couldn't keep a list to just one.
Yeah.
And then I think I say that off camera.
Yeah.
That's it.
But if you need
That's
some
pretty
research, you could do Keanu Reeves for Constantine.